Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Explore VM podcast. I am your host, Paul Woodward. Now, recently, VMware made a big announcement around their VMware Cloud offering, and today's show, we're going to look at that a little bit more. And my guest is going to be our expert on that. So why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Thanks, Paul, for having me. My name is Marjorie Abdelkrime, and I lead our multi-cloud architecture and strategy team. Basically, what that means is that we focus on everything VMware Cloud. So hopefully we can get some answers to the questions that all of you have been thinking about since our launch last week.
Excellent. Well, first of all, thank you for joining today. I do appreciate that. And so I kind of looked at some of the press releases, but I wanted to talk to somebody who knows the product. So first and foremost, just kind of high level, quick overview. What is the new VMware Cloud announcement?
Yeah, so what we did was we basically brought together all of the solutions that VMware brings to market around cloud under a single umbrella called VMware Cloud. So when you hear us talk about VMware Cloud, really what we're talking about is the services that are underlying to help address our customers' cloud needs and their cloud journey and how they're looking to adopt. Really, it's just taking the technology that we've leveraged with VCF that many of you are very familiar with, and taking that solution and really making it available to our cloud providers, which allows for our customers to have this very seamless transition between on-premises to cloud for any solution that they're looking to use in terms of the cloud providers that they've got access to.
Excellent, excellent. So, I shot over a couple of prep questions, and actually question 3 was going to be, are there any new products involved, or is it more, again, just, more of an easy way to use everything? So with that, also, the question becomes, what public clouds are involved? What can users expect?
Yeah, so the portfolio is actually pretty broad, right? When we think about all of the different solutions that we bring under this umbrella, we have the traditional VCF solution that many folks are familiar with that I just mentioned. We have our VMware Cloud on AWS offering, which is a VMware created and partnered with AWS offering. And then we have the multitude of products that exist with our partners. So if you think of the Google Cloud Platform, we have a solution with them called Google Cloud VMware Engine. Try to say that 5 times fast. And then we also have a solution with Oracle. We have a solution that we have launched with them. Actually, it's going extremely well. And then we obviously have our Azure VMware solution, which is in partnership with Microsoft. Those are the big public provider ones that people tend to think about. But what people don't realize is that we actually also partner with several partner providers that bring you these services leveraging VMware technology, and it serves it to you similar to any other public provider would serve it to you as a cloud platform. So think of companies like Rackspace, for example, tends to be one that many folks can easily relate to, that will provide their cloud services with VMware technology as the foundation.
And if I'm recalling right, there was something along the lines of like purchasing like subscriptions or being able to purchase some of that cloud consumption right through this offering.
Yeah, so we have a new subscription offering that we've created. It's called VMware Cloud Universal. And what that does is it gives you essentially a token where you now have access to multitude of cloud offerings. And right now we're piloting it with our own solutions as opposed to with partner solutions. So if you think of VMware Cloud on AWS, VMC on Dell. When I say VMC, I mean VMware Cloud, so folks hear me say that. VMC on Dell, and our VCF solution. So let's say you buy 10 credits, and I'm just throwing a number out there, 10 credits of VCF or VMware Cloud Universal. You basically now have access to those 3 main solutions and can use them interchangeably for whatever product most suits your needs.
Okay, and this might be getting into the weeds a little bit here that you might not know the answer, but say if you're looking at utilizing the credits within AWS, do you have any idea if this counts towards customers' enterprise or their EDP spend?
Yeah, so our licensing is a little tricky when it comes to EDP. VMCU is right now specifically focused on our sell-through, so whatever we sell, however we sell it, but we are working right now with AWS to bring that to market. We will have hopefully soon, and I'll double check on this later for you, Paul, and send you a note on what dates we're looking at, but that is something that's on the roadmap for us.
Okay, yeah, that's good to know. Obviously, like a lot of folks out there with their cloud spend, they look at some of those discounting programs. So understanding where they can utilize, some of these newer offerings and be able to help bring that cost down, that's always good to know. When customers, okay, they take a look at this, they're like, this sounds like it's going to be good a good fit for us. What is like, assuming they've already got a lot of these pieces in place, what does it look like to kind of get into this product or get into this suite?
Right. So from a getting into the solution, really what it's about, it's not just looking at the individual solutions, but thinking about the combined product together. And one of the things that we like to talk about is cloud management and how do we help support your cloud management. That's the other thing that comes into this VMware Cloud offering that we talked about earlier is our cloud management pieces. And when we talk to our customers, we like to help them understand, around the focuses around, all the applications that they're driving, improving their developer experience, helping them with management, and obviously infrastructure, right? That's something that everyone thinks about when we think about VMware or VMware Cloud, generally speaking. What VMware Cloud does is it helps bring all of these services together under a single umbrella, one from a licensing and management perspective, but also two from an operational perspective, right? How do you, as an owner of one of these cloud solutions, ensure that you're providing consistent operations to the folks that are having to manage it on a day-to-day basis, but also to the individuals that are going to be consumers of it. And how do we help you automate it is one of the big things that come as part of VMware Cloud.
Yeah, for sure. I work with quite a few different cloud customers when it comes to the major offerings, as well as VMware and doing like hybrid cloud and doing, that mixture. So that automation piece is key. So that I guess that kind of taps into day two operations. What can we expect out of this suite, this product? How is that going to improve? Obviously, you called out that automation piece. What is that going to look like for the end user?
Yeah, so really nothing much changes in terms of how folks have traditionally managed their cloud solutions, right? What we do when we layer on top of it our cloud management suite is really what we're trying to do is enhance the IT agility, right? So we're trying to make sure that we bring to you an accelerated time to value through this new self-service multi-cloud solution, right? And it's not really new. It's something that's been in existence. If we think about vRealize, hopefully many of you are very familiar with it. That is really the underlying component in terms of how we're serving to you the environment so that you can then automate some of the components to it. But if we think about, one of the big things is around how do we enhance public cloud provisioning support and how do you create the self-service environment so that when your developers are seeking additional compute, additional storage, it's something that they can then automatically provide for themselves by leveraging our offering there. The other thing is we've also recently, hopefully you all saw, we acquired a company called SaltStack, which also helps integrate and increase our ability to manage our environments. So now with this increased integration into vRealize, we also have integrated all of the SaltStack functionality into that. So you'll see some additional integration there. And we're also bringing to bear the Cloud Health solution. So many of you hopefully have had access to Cloud Health and have seen the benefits of how it can help expose some of the costs that might be hidden sometimes from costs from public provider solutions. We're making sure that as we're talking about day two ops, that we're taking into consideration all of those different components so that you all are able to improve your overall experience and improve the engagement within your organization.
Yeah, Cloud Health is a great cost optimization tool. We use it quite a bit, in our day to day. And I guess actually I must have missed. I've not paid attention, frankly, about the where the SaltStack integration was going to go. I knew it was going into obviously the vRealize automation. I just completely missed everything that's gone on with that recently.
Yeah, so just recently we announced an updated version of vRealize where the integration around the automation for SaltStack is one of the big pieces that we're selling to customers. So it's really, the customers will benefit from the simplified installation. They'll have the setup and deployment of what we're calling vRealize automation SaltStack config.
Excellent. That's real good to know. That's something I'm going to have to look into myself. In the same realm as public and private cloud, what can you tell me about VMware's Cloud Ready framework?
Yeah, so VMware recently has taken on an endeavor where we really want to think about intentionally how we're helping our customers plan their entire journey of migrating into the cloud, right? So as we think about it, we have a couple of key pillars that we want to make sure that our customers are thinking about, and we're creating this framework to guide our customers through it. The key pillars are plan, build, secure, modernize, and operate. And I'll share with you a link here later so that you can share with your audience here so they could take a look at the site. But the whole purpose is really for our customers to have a clear understanding of how they're defining their scope and requirements around the cloud operating model, for example, right? So we give them some best practices around how to both look at existing and new applications. The other piece around build, when we look at deploying and configuration with our customers, how are we then taking what we planned on and then building upon it and making sure that we're supporting both their new workloads that they're looking to build out, along with the traditional workloads that are being migrated using VMware Cloud. The third thing really is around securing. One of the major things that we like to make sure that we're talking about is this shared responsibility model, right? Security is a big piece of the shared responsibility model. It falls on the customer. And we want to make sure that we're talking more often about how do we protect and secure the workloads. From a modernization perspective, obviously we partner closely with our Tanzu portfolio peers within our organization. And how do we partner with them to make sure that we're building upon with our customers how they're modernizing their applications? So how are they transforming not just their infrastructure, but transforming the applications and really looking at how do they take best advantage of some of the cloud native functionality that might exist that will help them accelerate their application. And then finally, we talked a little bit about operate. The Cloud Ready framework will also talk a lot more about how do we operate in a multi-cloud world? What are some of those best practices that we're looking to build upon for our customers? This is still in early stages. We've just initially defined what our framework looks like, and the team is working on building white papers for each one of those pillars that I talked about earlier.
Well, that certainly sounds interesting. I'm excited to read those white papers as they come out, which is a phrase nobody ever says. Excited to read white papers, but
right.
that's the lot in life that some of us tech nerds have. But that reminded me of a question about the VMware Cloud. So that whole announcement was it GA at that announcement, or was there?
Cloud Ready framework, or
no the that whole VMware Cloud suite thing offering from last 2 weeks ago, last week, yeah.
Yes. So our VMware Cloud services have been available. What we've done is, like I mentioned, is that we basically combined those services under a single umbrella, and that was what we basically launched on the 31st.
Okay, and there's just as time goes on, more and more public clouds will have deeper integration with it.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Perfect. All right, just checking my understanding and make sure we're giving good information out here.
Yeah, I would say that it definitely is a topic that is very relevant to our customers these days, but it can easily create some confusion, right? When you're trying to talk about how does VMware really talk about infrastructure to our customers in a manner where it's not just on premises, which is where folks have traditionally thought of VMware, but also thinking about the private cloud, hybrid cloud, the multi-cloud, whatever cloud terminology we're using, we're trying to make sure that we're bringing it under this VMware Cloud umbrella.
Absolutely. And in my, my day-to-day, that's actually one of my bigger focuses is I'm heavy around VMware engineering, but also customers have Azure, they have AWS. How are we working all together? How can they control that from one location? So seeing that investment come from VMware, I think is going to help not only keep them relevant, but also be great for the end user, for the customers. It's just going to keep things rolling right along. And you said our partners over at Tanzu. I take it you don't do a lot with Tanzu, or is that something?
We do. So actually we do. So a big part of the launch was this whole integration and conversation around how do we bring application into the conversation when we're talking about cloud. When I talk about our partners, they're a different business unit than the business unit that I sit in, but we definitely work fairly closely with them.
Excellent. That's actually been a little bit of a pet project of mine lately, is diving deeper into Tanzu and into the Kubernetes grid and everything that goes with that, building some pretty fun lab stuff that I'm going to I think it's going to be really cool to show people like how you can in fact deploy this multi-cloud. You can do your workload from one, that from mission control, that one location, and just make life a lot easier. So
Yeah, it becomes the new vSphere, right? That we made so easy for our customers to be able to adopt whatever solution, whatever platform initially was hardware. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to evolve VMware to become, VMware Cloud to be the new vSphere, so to speak.
yeah, absolutely, and that fits like right in line with the whole any application on any device on any cloud messaging that VMware's been, you know, working towards for the last, I don't know, what, 5 years maybe. It seems like it's been quite a while, and that's certainly
Yeah,
the
yeah,
vision.
ever since I started, it's been for sure.
All right. So with all of these announcements, like it sounds like it's really great. Like we're looking at unified management, we're looking at everything under one roof. But anybody who spent any kind of time around private cloud and working with public cloud is how do you move? How do you migrate? So what is that starting to look like with within these products and within VMware?
Yeah, one of the big things that we think about when it comes to workload migrations is really the big challenges that customers tend to have, right? If you think of the compatibility and interoperability challenges that many folks face, networking and security issues, application and dependency mapping, and business disruption downtime. Those are the four key things that we think about as we're trying to solve this bigger problem around workload migration. And we do have a solution that we have created that's been in existence for quite some time. It's our VMware Hcx offering. And really what it does is it's helping accelerate that migration path for our customers and really help them with their SDDC modernization, right? And to their cloud journey at the end of the day. What we look to do is we take our on-prem vSphere environment, right? And we, with HCX, we basically do some mapping components that happen in the background to make sure that we understand the networking pieces, that we're able to understand, application requirements from a security standpoint, and really what are some of the other underlying infrastructure needs that the application might have. And with HCX, we're able to create this workload mobility across multiple stacks. So not just vSphere on premises, VCF into the cloud, but also from cloud to cloud provider. We're really trying to ensure that our customers feel that they have this flexibility around the migrations and that they can take their workloads to any platform that they feel that is important to them at that given time. So, not just the VMware Cloud on AWS, but also our VMware Cloud providers that we talked about earlier, the ones
Right.
that serve you, the cloud, and then also other public providers as well. And if you think about kind of the use cases that customers might be thinking about when we think about migration, it's also not just how do I get that workload into the cloud, right? It's also around, maybe data center consolidation. How do I make sure that we're supporting that big effort? Also around upgrade and replatforming, right? Leveraging HCX, we can also support our customers, make sure that they're supporting their upgrade and replatforming. Rebalancing is another one that we've been using HCX for. That's another use case. And then obviously, business continuity is an interesting one. I come from Veritas, where we talk a lot about business continuity in a very different lens than we do here at VMware. And that is another use case that we talk about, but it's one that obviously a customer needs to dive further into it. Our VCDR, our VMware Cloud Disaster Recovery product, is one that we are definitely talking more about with our customers as we think about DR. But HCX business continuity, I would limit that one. And then obviously our 5G telco operations. That's another one where we find HCX becoming part of the conversation around IP mobility and how do they bring that into the cloud.
Yeah, again, with working around the VMware suite and working with VMware Cloud and AWS quite a bit and customers and migrating, I do see HCX out there in the wild a lot. You said something that kind of just popped up a secondary question in my head. So yeah, obviously there's when you're making these moves, there's a lot of planning that needs to be done, especially around application dependency mapping. For my education, is there a piece within HCX that does that, or is it like looking at vRealize Network Insight that does the work when it comes to?
Yeah, so it is doing dependency mapping as part of the solution. So that is something that we're, as part of the overall planning process with the customer initially. And obviously we recommend that we engage our professional services, whether it be through our own or with a partner that might have those services to assist with really making sure that we're capturing anything. Because what we find is that sometimes the smallest thing gets missed, and that smallest thing tends to be networking, right? So there might be some port somewhere that we're not thinking about, and all of a sudden everything breaks. And that that becomes an essential part of the planning and mapping pieces.
Right. And, as a former data center administrator, it's always the network's fault. It's clearly
it's
never.
Always, yes.
Oh, excellent.
I was never a networking person, so I can definitely relate with that statement.
Awesome. And, you called out VCDR. I'm actually, seeing more and more clients. Like that's a product that I feel like hits a VMware need right on the head, because clients have wanted on-demand, like DR as a service that's VMware native for a long time. So being able to bring that up and to have like the pilot light option where you have one host running and you get those most critical workloads up, or to be able to go full on-demand, like I think that's been a really great addition by the VMware team to bring that up and get that running.
It was a huge win for us to acquire Datrium. I believe it was under a year ago, because I do remember the excitement last year.
We could open up about 100 more rabbit holes with this conversation, but in the interest of time, I think we're at a good spot here. So, with our last closing moments, is there anything you'd like to say, or where can people find you, like online? Floor is yours.
Yeah, definitely. I will share the links here to our VMware Cloud Readiness Framework. That is something that my team has been heavily engaged in with our product teams, and you'll see a lot of great assets here being created to help our customers understand how to best get to the cloud. So that link, I won't share it here because it'll just be too long. But in terms of where to find me, LinkedIn, Marjorie Abdelkrime, or Twitter, Marge A. STEM. Big passion of mine is getting more young women interested in STEM. So that's what you'll find when you're on that Twitter handle. Hopefully y'all will find some interest in that topic as well. But yeah, looking forward to hearing from folks. Obviously, any other questions for folks, to feel free to reach out, and looking forward to hearing about customers and how they're taking their cloud migrations in the future as well.
Awesome. Well, once again, I want to thank you for your time.
Thanks, Paul. This is great.
And thank you for listening. If you'd like to continue the conversation around today's topic, have an idea for the show, or would like to be a guest on the Explore VM podcast, please reach out to me on Twitter @ExploreVM, email me, paul@explorevm.com, or on facebook.com/explorevm. Also, check out my other shows, the Blocks and Bytes Grilling and Technology Show on YouTube, and if you're into stocks and learning about investing, give the Money Badgers Associates a listen. And as always, once again, thank you for listening.